Here we are, well into March already, and the hopeful days of February have definitely passed us by. In my last video, I talked about how Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker was trying to balance the budget on the backs of the public workers, while at the same time giving tax cuts to businesses. Protesters and Democratic lawmakers made a valiant effort, but the law that destroyed most of the collective bargaining rights of the public workers was passed anyway. In Libya, for a while it looked like another murderous dictator in the form of Muammar Gaddafi would be ousted from power in a revolution, but now it looks like he's going to hang on after brutally crushing the protests. Thousands of people are dead in Japan from an earthquake and tsunami, and there are probably thousands of brain-dead fundamentalists around the country just waiting for the comforting news from Pat Robertson that they deserved it and that it was part of God's plan. Or maybe they're just thinking, wow, Bill O'Reilly was right, tide goes in, tide goes out. In this environment, it would be very easy to slip into a semi-permanent state of pessimism. The world isn't going to change, why should I bother, some might say. The political system is just broken, politics is driven by money, and politicians in turn tend to make laws that are favorable for people that already have a lot of money, and not necessarily so much for the average American. In fact, last week I watched a video by Paul Zigo where he talked about these very issues, which I largely agreed with. Then he went even further, though, saying that he wasn't even going to vote anymore because Republicans and Democrats were the same and we can't change anything. I took the time to make this video, Paul, because I think you're wrong about that, and I can show you why, but in the most positive and encouraging way possible. Now, Paul, I know you're a self-described cynic, so I'm certainly not here to sell you unicorns and rainbows or anything else to make you think that life is just grand. Your analogy about how broken the political system is well taken, and I generally agree. If the corrupting influence of money in politics were literally the only issue that mattered to you, then I wouldn't fault you for not voting, because I'd agree with you that it's a lost cause, at least for the foreseeable future. However, though I only recently subscribed to you, I already know that you care about much more than that, and that you certainly have some opinions on issues where the goals might be attainable or even been partially attained already because of how people voted. Still not convinced? Here are some examples. You said that there was no difference between the parties. Well, let's examine that. Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed. McCain was the loser in the presidential election, and he was one of the fiercest opponents of the repeal. Do you think this would have happened if everyone that had the same ideals that we share just decided that they can't make a difference and didn't vote? How about the new healthcare reform law? As flawed as I'm sure we both agree it is, there are provisions of the new healthcare law that are already helping Americans today, like Amazing Atheist Girlfriend being able to stay on her parents' insurance for longer. I know some of you in the Crockistan Army are in this boat too, you've told me so. And that's a substantive change that you know would never have happened if the other guy won, no matter what Obama's faults are or how much he disappointed you. Hey, he's helping to keep the skeptics healthy for the next battle. You also don't have to take my word for it. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce is an example of just one of the many political action committees out there that works to make sure that business gets as many tax breaks as possible and tries to make sure wages stay low in various ways. They certainly don't raise money and give 88% of it to Republicans because they don't think there's a difference. I could easily name 10 other organizations with similar priorities and spending habits, if you want to call it that. They would be thrilled if you and I didn't vote, or if protesters didn't bother. I'm not asking you to do it out of some cheesy sense of civic pride or out of ritual. I'm asking you to do it because it actually matters, even though we both want our votes to go further. You have almost exactly 3 times the reach that I have on YouTube. We're in the same boat, Paul, going basically the same direction, and if I have to paddle 3 times faster, then I will. But I want to help to convince you to put an oar in the water again and fight. In fact, I'm going to your channel page right now to encourage you to do just that. Anyone else coming with me?